Alright, welcome back dito sa latest episode ng Pilipinas 360 Degrees Roar. Kasama po natin si Sir Ronald Llamas. Siguro naman gumising na siya by this time. Kasi kumbaga, paggising late na. Pag nandito, gumigising pa lang. So, I like this dialectical process. Yun yung double negation, Sir Ronald.
Imagine mo kung gising yung utak ko. No?
Kinakabahan na ako eh. Sabi ko,
Buti nga, medyo slow pa. Di
diyan
ba?
ka lang, diyan ka lang. Para mabait ka pala. Pansin ka pala tayo. Pag medyo pagod tayo, ganun, bumabait tayo. What is your theory, Sir Ronald? Do you think we have negative energy? What's going on?
Pag tulog yung ating utak, nagtatago tayo sa satire. No. para akala nila nag-iisip tayo. No?
Yun, oh. Parang yun yung pang-intermission mo. Para habang naglo-load yung brain mo. No?
Parang si Alan Peter, no? Umaalis doon sa Senate, tapos pagbalik, biglang hihirit. May naalala ko niya.
Kung ganyan. At least ito, nag-attend, tapos bumalik. May kilala ko, hindi nga nag-attend. Third day ng conference papasok. Ang daming tanong.
Taas na kamay.
Sir Ronald,
Parang ganun si Alan.
balita ko sumabog yung isang panel with Trillanes and Carpian. May sabi, buti pa Richard, meron pa kayong panel dyan. Bakit? Okay naman, very technical, very subdued yung panel namin kasi mga experts talaga. Yun ang exciting. Hindi nga sabi niya, buti nga sa inyo, may flow, may method yung sa kanila. Sabog daw yung conference. Ano nangyari sa Ronald? Because I had to go for another event eh.
Mas kwan kasi yun eh. Mas political yung session na yun. No?
So what did you talk about? Kasi
Wala lang, binanatan ko lang yung DFA. Tapos
nako, pag-usapan natin yan. No, actually, eto wala ka doon sa isang event kasi ako busy.
lang na may dysfunction.
I was-
Yung iba't ibang mga sections ng ating gobyerno.
No, this is important.
Unity.
No, let's talk about it. Because ako, hindi naman katulad ni Alan Peter, katulad na ni Bam, impartial ako, di ba? So, ako, I love ko silang lahat, DFA, DND, Coast Guard, but, yeah, sir, I mean,
They love you, Bam.
you know I'm not sure, but Gibo was very nice. He was like calling over, usap-usap kami, chismis kami. No, but going back to this, is it natural na magkaroon ng turf wars? Is it natural na magkaroon ng bureaucratic politics? Because you have worked in the bureaucracy. Ikaw nga, marami na inggit sa'yo nung time ni Pinoy, di ba? Na yung access mo to the president, the gravitas you brought in the picture, your progressive ideals. Or do you think this is very worrying? And ako kasi I got very worried when some people are even implying na certain secretaries are doing China's bidding. Yung iba naman, yung kabila, they're just provoking conflict and all. I just don't think that's helpful. And considering ang taas ng caliber, I mean, we're very lucky. We are in an era whereby you have Jay Tariela in Coast Guard. You have, of course, outgoing General Bronner in the AFP who really stabilized the institution, helped the institution to move to the next phase. In fairness to Gibo, no? I was quite critical of him throughout the years, but I mean, the guy, he brings a lot of energy, knowledge, cerebral, analytic approach to this. And of course, he really has stood up to China. And then, of course, in the DFA, now you have another veteran diplomat who has been dealing with China on very difficult issues. So actually, in theory, if we look at it, this is one of the most competent, impressive collection, no? Basically, montage of patriotic characters. And yet, for some reason, it looks like things are not gelling the way it should. Like, what is your read, Sir Ronald?
Well, sabi mo nga, natural naman sa isang gobyerno na may mga turf wars. Dahil lalo na yung mga malalaking department.
Yes.
Pero at critical moments, no, dapat merong fulcrum na nag-intervene to balance the differences and unite towards a particular direction, a particular strategy. Alam mo, foreign policy.
Yeah.
Very crucial yan eh. Dapat iisa lang ang boses natin dyan. Natatawa ko, ang dami nating spokesperson. No?
Hindi, meron pa nga, kapos yung spokesperson, different spokesperson.
Yes.
Parang naiilong ako sa position.
Dapat isa na lang or dalawa na lang. No?
Yeah.
Tapos dapat unified yung positioning. No? Ikalawa ay, alam mo, sa strategy, kung i-deconstruct mo yung mga strategies ng mga key departments, parang may dysfunction. No? So, halimbawa, one of our strength dito sa paglaban sa China is not military. Hindi natin kayang labanan ang biggest standing army in the world, the biggest navy in the world, the second or the first most technologically advanced nation in the world.
Right.
the second strongest economy in the world, no? The second biggest population, hindi ganun kadaling labanan yan. Ang ating laban is asymmetrical. At isa dyan, isang element yan ay yung transparency struggle natin.
Yeah.
Ine-expose natin yung ginagawa ng China for all the world to see. Kaya nga yung sympathy ng mundo nasa atin. No? Ngayon, kung yan ay medyo itatabi mo at magfo-focus ka sa mga secret negotiations, tinanggal mo yung ating main weapon
Yeah.
laban sa isang superpower. Kaya wag mong banatan yung transparency initiative, whether yan ay civilian or government. Dahil mahalaga yan in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
No? Or wag mo i-undermine by other kinds of negotiations. Yung mga ganun ba? Ikalawa, ngayon head tayo ng ASEAN, pinag-uusapan ng Code of Conduct. Dapat very basic. Yung term of reference ng Code of Conduct should be the UNCLOS decision. Bakit tahimik doon? No? Bakit tahimik doon? Ikatlo, itong mga atake sa atin, lalo na itong recent, itong sa Batanes, hindi pwedeng i-brush off mo lang. Dapat
Yung mga
sagutin mo.
so-called scholars na nagsabi na sa China
Hindi
yung
na siya scholars dahil lumabas na siya sa Global Times. So it's now the official position
like
of the Communist Party of China. At yung official position ng Communist Party of China is the official position of the Chinese government. No? Because it's a one-party system. Kaya bakit iba-brush off mo lang na, hindi naman gobyerno yan. Global Times na nga eh. No?
pero may pagka-troll yun eh. Yung Global Times parang yun yung heckler nila, Ronald Llamas.
Yun yung official.
Hardline nila yan eh.
Pero yun yung official publication ng Communist Party of China. Kaya
Hindi fishing expedition to.
Doon mo sinusukat ano yung position ng Communist Party. No? Dati nga, nung cabinet secretary ako, may isang senador, sabi niya ay, kausap ko na yung foreign ministry, ganito ang kanilang posisyon. Sabi ko sa kanya, nakausap mo ba yung Foreign Affairs Department ng Communist Party? Hindi. Hindi mo pa hindi mo pa
the real
nakausap.
power is somewhere else.
Decisions emanate from that, not sa foreign ministry. So, yung ganun ba? No, you have to understand the Chinese system. At nung nilabas nila yung position sa Batanes, yung historic rights nila sa Batanes, mas strategic siya militarily eh. Dahil kailangan nila yung Batanes or at least the sea around
To
Batanes.
surround Taiwan.
If they are going to
Invade
Taiwan in 2027. Dahil lang alam natin, kung hindi nila makukuha ang Taiwan itong election na ito this year, no, na yung mga pro-China ay medyo nagle-level up, ay mapaperso silang invade ang China, at least si Xi Jinping. Dahil yan yung kanyang timeline eh. Or else,
27, they have to be prepared.
or else baka tanggalin siya ng People's Liberation Army as President of China. So, very defining yung next year na yan. At ang crucial dyan ay yung Basi Strait. 100 kilometers between Batanes and the southern industrial hub of Taiwan. At yan ang entry point from the Pacific. From Hawaii, from Guam, from Australia, from New Zealand, natutulong, no? If ever magkakaroon ng gera over Taiwan and Japan.
Right.
No? But Japan kasi pinakamalapit sa Taiwan, no? Na hindi Chinese, no? So, crucial 'yan. Tingin ko yung kanilang statement ay mas papunta ron, no? Yung
This is worrying, no? I mean, sir, parati naalala ko bata pa lang parati namin narinig na ang Pilipinas, we are blessed with the great geography and all. And I look at it, actually I would say maybe at some point in history, but not now. Kasi gitnang-gitna tayo ng dalawang island chain. Di ba? Yung first island chain na gusto i-dominate ng China is yung from East China Sea to South China Sea, di ba? Kasama ng West Philippine Sea dyan. Akala mo, yun na yan. Yung second island chain actually, dadaan yan sa Philippine Sea at from Southern Japan. So, literally, sandwich tayo dito sa dalawang areas na gusto i-dominate ng China. Kasi, to be fair to China, ang thinking nila is, tingnan mo lahat ng superpower. First, na-dominate nila yung immediate waters. Yung US, Caribbean, then Pacific, umabot nga sa Pilipinas, naka-colonize tayo. The Romans, they dominated the Mediterranean, di ba? And now, of course, the Iranians want to dominate Persian Gulf, so on and so forth. Para sa kanila, it doesn't make sense for us to call ourselves kung superpower kung hindi natin kontrolado yung immediate waters natin. At doon, malas actually yung geography natin if we don't step up. Di ba, Sir Ronald? So, I completely agree with you na while I will, medyo sabihin ko, joke yung claim, I won't take as a joke yung naval ambitions ng China because they have the capacity for that. And it's just a question of when are they gonna execute it in its full sense of the word. So what does that mean for us, Sir Ronald? Because patapos na tong Marcos administration. And fairness to President BBM, I would say if there's one area whereby I would give him more than a passing grade, absolutely, is pagdating sa West Philippine Sea issue, he did not turn out like Tatay Digong. He turned out more like his own tatay, Marcos Sr. Because Marcos Sr. was actually very proactive on West Philippine Sea, right? Like on another show, we had Jay Batumbakal, Dr. Jay Batumbakal, and he talked about nung time ni Marcos. Kasi alam ko, naglo-load ka pa yan. Like, mabait ka ngayon. Sige lang, mag-sleeping pills ka. Para naman, Sir Ronald. No, because he was talking about yung efforts ni Marcos na yung mga archipelagic nation, Indonesia, Pacific countries. Nag-alay tayo when we were negotiating the UNCLOS. So, in a way, the Philippines was the fulcrum of a united global South Pacific countries front. And that's why yung United Nations Convention of the Sea is very friendly to the interests of smaller post-colonial nations like us. And then, of course, kung titignan mo yung Pag-asa, yung facilities yan, babalik yan all the way to Marcos Sr. period. Kaya, before President Marcos took over, I said, he might end up more like his own tatay than Tatay Digong on foreign policy, even though I was, of course, very skeptical on other fronts. And I would say, so far, I'm pretty confident about that prediction or prognosis. Ikaw, Sir Ronald, what do you think about this?
Well, una, ang template kasi ng China, historic rights.
Yeah.
Na yung South China Sea, kaya nga China. Kaya nga may China. Historically, sa kanila yan. Ganun din ang ginamit nila sa Batanes. Ganun din ang ginamit nila sa Palawan. No? Historical rights ito dahil nung unang panahon, amin yan. Kung ganun ang framework mo, kung ganun ang argument mo, it's so stupid na
That's where it's a joke.
na katawa-tawa.
Yeah, that's where it's a joke. That's my thing. Yeah.
Kung susundan mo yung logic, no? Ang China is Mongolia. No? Dahil nasakop na Mongolia ang China
Manchu.
for 2-3 centuries, no? At ang large part ng Europe, no? Large part ng Europe ay nasakop din ng Islam.
Yeah.
For a while, no?
Spain,
Or
parts of Italy.
Or large part of the world ay Greek. Dahil nasakop ni Alexander the Great. Kaya medyo stupid yung ganung klaseng historic rights argument.
Selective
no?
kasing period na pipiliin mo. di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pero, yun yung kanilang template para to unite their country, yung China.
Yeah.
Na from kindergarten, tinuturo na yan.
Dinidrill na sa kanila.
Tinuturo na yan. Ito yung ating territory at nawala yan because of foreign devils. No?
Yeah.
Foreign devils. Kaya, halimbawa, 100 years of humiliation ang kanilang template.
Yeah.
Dahil ginulo tayo ng mga dayuhan. It's now our turn para bawiin yung mga yan. So, ganun ang template nila. No? Dahil nga, very weak sila in terms of international law. Dahil hindi papansinin yan ng international law yung ganyang klase
Hindi yan
historic rights.
ubra. Yeah.
Hindi yan ubra. So, yun ang kanila. Pero, what they are doing is classic imperialism. No? Talagang balak nilang i-take over ito, especially because these are resource-rich. Kung hindi naman resource-rich ang West Philippine Sea, hindi naman nila papansinin yan Kung hindi naman militarily strategic ang Batanes, hindi naman nila i-claim yan So, this is classic, pure imperialism. Gusto nilang i-colonize at sakupin yung mga strategic and rich territories na yan. Na unfortunately, sabi mo nga, is also a curse. Dahil ang ganda ng ating location, ang ganda ng ating wealth na hindi natin ginagamit, no? Hindi natin pinapakinabangan because of idiots in government, no? So yun yung natin na kailangan nating ayusin, no? Very basic. Ba't wala sa curriculum mo yung ating West Philippine Sea? Ba't wala sa curriculum mo yung mga UNCLOS, key historic victories natin? So habang yung kabila no ay consolidated
Patriotic education program nila. Yeah. Isang generasyon yan
Tapos sila napapasok tayo. Ang daming traitor sa ating bansa dahil wala tayong treason laws. Yung nahuli natin mga spy sa military, hindi natin pwedeng ipakulong dahil walang batas governing espionage ng isang foreign power sa ating bansa. Yung mga ganong weaknesses ba, buti na lang naayos natin yung ating baseline law. Diba? To supplement yung ating sovereign rights, territorial rights, EEZ rights. No? Yun yung kailangan natin gawin. Pero hindi tayo pwedeng matulog on the job. no? Like some senators, like some politicians. Kailangan para tayong Lion of Judah, no? Neither slumber or rest. Dapat lahat tayo insomniac. Oo. Dito sa labanang ito.
Unless bumabait tayo pag medyo nagsisleeping pills tayo. Mamaya padala mo sa akin yung prescription mo, Sir Ronald. Parang kailangan ko rin yata para bumait. No, I mean, can we Duterte-proof our foreign policy na just in case we have another Duterte or a senador becomes the next president, na meron para tayong fundamentals na tuloy-tuloy laban?
Not in the next generation, not in this generation. Perhaps in the next generation. Because ang edge ng China sa atin, they are an ideological state.
Yeah.
We have to be ideological, for lack of a better example, like the Scandinavian countries. No, na meron tayong ideology which will last much longer than yung mga leaders.
Yeah.
No, na regularly napapalitan because of a democratic alternation of power. No? Pero kahit napapalitan, no, the ideology of the state remains. No? Social welfare state, di ba? Economy, serving social goals, civil liberties, no, etc.
Is that what Akbayan stands for?
Yeah.
That kind of Scandinavian Nordic model of social
Well,
democracy?
in a way, no? Pero kinakailangan niyang i-adjust sa ating realities. No? Pwedeng yung contours, pwedeng kumuha ka sa ibang mga models. Pero you have to create a Philippine model. Philippine model.
So dun ko gusto ipasok itong atin to campaign, Sir Ronald, because I have some colleagues who are worried na baka this will also give China an excuse to, kasi sila wala naman talaga silang real civil society in the democratic sense of the word. So unfortunately, they create GNGOs, yung mga government NGOs. And our worry was yung people's protracted warfare style, yung people's war at sea, gagamitin nila yan. But so far, so good. Can you just tell us bakit mahalaga yung kampanya nyo to get the civil society involved, the youth involved?
Yeah.
Is this part of a generational struggle?
Well, una, kailangan nating educate yung mga tao, lalo na wala pa sa ating education system. Yung ating West Philippine Sea, yung ating victory sa UNCLOS, yung
Right.
aggression ng China in a disruptive manner. No, dahil hindi pwedeng slow burn. At ang ginagawa ng atin ito ay sa kanilang civilian convoy, pinofocus yung attention ng ating bansa at the very least dito sa struggle na ito, itong asymmetrical warfare na ito with China. Nilalagay mo yung China sa isang damn if you do, damn if you don't position. No? Pag hinaras nila yan, kontrabida sila. Biggest navy in the world, hinaharas mo isang ragtag flotilla of civilians, youth. Pag naman hindi mo hinaras, talo ka rin. Which means na ito ay nakakaroon ng upper hand, itong ragtag group na ito. So that's part of the asymmetrical warfare. No? Na zero-sum game ka, tapos yung kalaban mo, who is a superpower, hindi alam kung ano gagawin. No? Ikalawa, yung mundo. Nasabi ko na nga sa ibang episode natin, imagine mo, si Scholz, Chancellor ng Germany, si Macron, Presidente ng France, si Sanchez, Prime Minister ng Spain. Nung nakita ko sila sa isang conference, ang kanilang binabanggit nila ay yung civilian convoy. Dahil it
That's what
catches the
resonates with
imagination
them,
of the world. No? Yung David versus Goliath. No? David versus Goliath. Lumalabas ka sa Der Spiegel, lumalabas ka sa Le Monde, no? Lumalabas ka sa Washington Post, no? Na yung ibang mga activities natin hindi napapansin. Bakit napapansin ito? It's a David versus Goliath engagement. No? So, yung ganun ba, you have to strategize well. Pero dapat ito ay ginagawa ng whole of nation approach. Halimbawa, Zamboanga City, naglabas ng resolution na yung July 12 will be West Philippine Sea Day. Ginawa yan ng Cebu. No, West Philippine Sea Day. Sumunod yung province of Cebu. Sumunod yung Antipolo, yung Bulacan province. This week yung Quezon City, no, etc. Dapat unahan mo na. Yung buong gobyerno na i-declare na July 12 as West Philippine Sea Day, no?
Right.
At trivia lang, yung West Philippine Sea ay resolution ng Akbayan sa Congress, no, nung 2014, no? Kaya siya
And si Congressman Walden Bell,
Yes,
2011, he filed for that, renaming to West Philippine
Yes,
Sea.
hindi namin inasahan na ma-approve, pero
fairness.
na-approve. And the rest is history. No, so, ganun ba? To unite your own people, no? At unti-unti mong itabi yung mga taksil ng mga politiko, yung mga chinadors, gawin mo na yan aggressively.
Yeah.
No? Dahil yung kalaban mo who is an ideological state, nagawa na yan long before. Naghahabol ka lang. No? So ito ay bahagi ng mga things which has to be done yesterday. No?
Since gumising ka na, Sir Ronald, let's end on this very strong point. Just a question, because in the case of China, yung kanilang anti-corruption drive ay justify nila in terms of strengthening the country. Hindi lang yung Communist Party, di ba?
Yes.
Parang idea sa kung may corruption tayo, hihina yung military natin because yung equipments don't go where they have to go, resources don't go to building up capabilities, industry, so on and so forth. Can we do the same thing? Kasi ang ating approach to fighting corruption is usually the moral stance, which is clear, 100%. You will burn in hell. Okay. But can we also try to mobilize an anti-corruption drive in the name of national security? Kasi kung nasasayang yung pera sa flood control, hindi yan napupunta sa mga barko na kailangan natin sa ating sandataan lakas. Hindi yan napupunta sa ating Philippine Coast Guard, right? Imagine flood control na 1 trillion na ninakaw. If that went sa ating Philippine Navy, Philippine Air Force, we would have a far more capable one in terms of basic
Well,
capacity.
ang usapin ng corruption is not only a historical problem.
Yeah.
It is also a very structural problem.
Right.
But it's not only structural or historical, it's cultural. So it will take a generational struggle to change
But you
that.
can mitigate
But
it,
you
right?
can, but you can
Yes.
start it
Yes.
dramatically.
Exactly.
Kaya nga, inaasahan natin, sana yung mahiya naman kayo SONA ng presidente is the start of something dramatic. Ang problema, until now, yung more than 67 congressmen daw na involved dito, ni isa wala pa nakakasuhan o nakukulong. Yung 15 contractors na binanggit ng presidente na involved dito sa anomalous transactions na ito, 0.5 pa lang yung nakukulong.
Is the ombudsman overwhelmed? Does the ombudsman need to be more empowered? How is that?
Probably all of the above. Pero ang very decisive dito is political will.
Yeah.
No? Political will na gawin yan. Kaya, nagiging crucial yung 2028. No? Dahil kailangan mo ng mga a core of leaders, politicians, na talagang walang pakialam kung hindi matapos yung ganyang klase ng corruption. Or at least, dramatically mabawasan yan. Kaya 2028 will be a decisive year against corruption. Dahil we cannot have more of the same. No? Dahil ang kino-confront natin at this point is no less than a choice between damnation or salvation. Now, hopefully, 2028 will be the start of our salvation.
Maraming salamat, Sir Ronald Llamas. Gising ka na. Welcome back. Welcome back after your long journey. Salamat for joining us for this latest episode ng Pilipinas 360 Degrees. That was really nice discussion, Sir Ronald. I like this. Since hindi ka nagpakita doon sa isa pang conference, ay shoutout sana kita as host of the event. Pero tuloy-tuloy itong mga discussion natin as we monitor the hearing. Hopefully, I'll join you guys also on the other platforms live from Senado. Ibe-breakdown din natin yung mga pangyayari dyan. Alam ko nakatingin sa akin si Ronald. Si Ronald tingin sa akin. Sa akin, conscious ako eh. Salamat.
Wala kasi akong ganun pala.
Hindi, kasi napawisan ako para hindi masira itong mga...
Medyo malayo ako sa iyong fashion
Wala
sense.
kasi akong... Ako lang kasi nagla-laundry ng shirt ko, Sir Ronald. Yan. Pang ano lang yan, pang kuha ng pawis.
You're very British.
All right. Thank you very much. And that very backhanded compliment sa aking fashion sense. And talk to you soon. God bless po. Thank you.